Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement 2. On today's video, I'm doing some VCF prep work. I know this isn't the most interesting content, but I'm going to be attending Vintage Computer Festival in Seattle coming up in, I think, less than 2 weeks. And I need to get my stuff organized because I have a table that I'm going to be showing things at, and I need to make sure that all of the stuff I'm bringing with me actually works. Well, one of the things I'm bringing with me is going to be the Archimedes 420, the Acorn Archimedes that is. There have been a couple videos on the main channel, I think a second channel video as well, where I've shown off this machine. It was donated to me by an amazing viewer, Mike, who sent in the computer, and then over some other videos has sent in some additional accessories for it. I don't need those necessarily working for VCF, but what I want to make sure is working is the computer itself and the monitor connection. I have the keyboard, I have the mouse, I have a few games here that I want to load up here to try out. And yeah, I just kind of want to make sure that this thing absolutely works. In addition to the Archimedes, I'm going to be bringing the Plexus P20, which happens to be sitting on the floor behind me. I had a recent video on the main channel showing off that computer, and I think that's pretty much ready to go, although I still have to kind of get it all hooked up to the terminal, make sure I have all the cables with me, because of course I'm going to be hours, like 3 hours away from home. So if I forget something, I can't just rush home to grab what I need and bring it to the show. And then the other machine that I'm going to be bringing with me is the AGFA CompuGraphic 9000 PS. That's the 6820 printer controller board that we had Doom running on. So yeah, there's a lot of moving parts here and time is running out and I just kind of got to get organized. So this second channel video is going to be me, checking out the Archimedes. Now, I will preface this by saying there's still a couple problems with the Archimedes. The sound doesn't work properly, which is no big deal. I won't just bring any speakers to hook up to it at the show. But the other problem with this is that it seems the NVRAM circuit or something is not working on here. So even though this thing has a battery in it, I'm pretty sure there's a battery in here, it doesn't seem to retain the actual settings for the machine. So the clock I don't care about, but there are a bunch of NVRAM settings for like the monitor configuration, and those seemingly get lost every time this computer is powered off for any amount of time. So I have a feeling when I get this hooked up to a monitor and we turn it on, it's not going to display anything. So I need to write down some instructions for myself so when I get it powered up there at the show, I know exactly what I need to do to like factory default the NVRAM and set it up for the monitor and stuff. And then the machine also has a compact flash IDE card, but that also doesn't work when the NVRAM gets lost. And because I don't have a lot of seat time with this machine yet, I don't have a lot of experience using it, every time I go to use this thing, I completely forget how to use it. So hopefully I've created some notes, which I don't have with the computer here, but hopefully they're saved on my server, and I can grab those, print those out, and we'll get started. So okay, what I need to do first is grab a monitor and get this thing all hooked up, and let's see what happens when we first power this up. So when Acorn sold this computer back in the 80s, the monitor that came with the original versions of this machine was actually a monitor just like this Commodore 1084. This is made by Philips. I've had so many videos about this monitor, but it was an Acorn branded version of this exact monitor. It looked identical to this. The only main difference is the door had, and I have one right here, a replica that is. The door said RGB color monitor on it. And then instead of the 1084 sticker there, because the original door had Commodore written on the door itself, there is a sticker right here that said Acorn. Now the problem is I don't want to stick this sticker on this monitor, and the reason why is this monitor's kind of beat up. The actual physical case is a little beat up on it, only because this monitor was originally found not working and kind of left for dead. This was a long time ago, and I didn't even make a video about it because it was before I was doing that. I fixed this thing up. It had a few faults, like no audio, no power LED, and plus the flyback wasn't working just because it had broken solder joints. So I've fixed all those problems. This monitor has been trusty and working great ever since. And it's the one I always bring out whenever I want to show off anything hooked up to an actual monitor that runs at 15 kilohertz. The door obviously has been something I 3D printed, and I used a clear PLA filament just because I kind of like how it looked. I used to have one on here that I spray painted. It was just not a great door, and this one is a little bit better, although it still doesn't really stay closed all the way. Either way, this door here that says RGB color monitor, it's a 3D printed door as well, so I don't know how well it's going to fit, but I'm kind of worried about putting this on the monitor only because I think if I take this on and off too many times, it might break the PLA that this is printed with. And of course, I don't want to put the sticker on here, like I said, because this is the beat up version of the monitor. And I have other 1084s, and I will put this sticker and the door on one of the better 1084s, but I can't do that yet, because if we turn this around, One of the things about this monitor that is different than the rest of mine, and it's going to be hard to see because it's a little dark here, but this has a SCART jack on it. And the cable I have that works with the Archimedes needs the SCART jack. And this is the only 1084 right now that I've done the modification to add the SCART jack on. So I really need to grab one of my better 1084s, add the SCART jack to it, and then apply the conversion kit, which is the new door and the new sticker. And then that will be the permanent Acorn monitor, which of course will still work perfectly with any Commodore or anything else as well. It's just, it'll be branded as Acorn. So I guess for VCF, I'm gonna have to be using this Commodore one with the funky door here, just because there isn't really time for me to go and modify one of the other ones with the SCART jack and everything. So let me get things hooked up and ready for testing. So the keyboard connects to the front of the computer. And then as for the mouse, there's actually a DIN jack right there. And that's where the mouse goes. This is the SCART cable that I'm going to be using with the monitor. Now, the cable it goes to is analog RGB composite sync, and this is a cable that I did make myself. But to use it with the Archimedes, I have to use this little adapter, which I made, I think, in the first video on the main channel where I got this thing working. The pinout is 9-pin on the Archimedes. It's just non-standard from anything else. So that's what this adapter does. So I just plug this in together. One direction faces the 1084, and I wrote Acorn on there. And I will mention one thing, if you're considering buying one of these and using it in North America, you will need to do work on the power supply to convert it to 120 volts, or you have to use a step-up transformer. I've already done that work, so this thing has already been modified to run at 120 volts here in North America. Incidentally, Mike, who donated this machine, has also sent in some additional stuff for it. So we have an ARM2 processor. That would be a downgrade. This has been upgraded to an ARM3 processor, I think at 25 megahertz or maybe 16 megahertz. The original ARM2 processor is a 32-bit processor, but it runs at 8 megahertz. So that would be something I want to try out in the future. Plus an original set of ROMs, Arthur 1.2. This thing has newer Arc OS ROMs in it. Couple real-time clocks, couple op amps. These were to potentially fix the problem with the NVRAM not saving and of course the sound not working. And then in this iPad box, we have a few other things. We have an Ethernet module. Module are the cards that plug into the back of the machine to give this thing Ethernet, plus an Alpha 1 46 PC module. So yeah, 46 PC emulator. It's in hardware. It will actually have a 46. I think it's a 46 SLC if I recall. And that goes in the back of this, and that will give this thing hardware PC compatibility. I will not be testing that stuff in this video because I just want to make sure this thing works and can show off some of the demos for the show. There will be future videos on this machine where I get the sound fixed, the real-time clock and VRAM stuff fixed, and get those modules working, and get more software loaded onto this thing, really kind of get this thing up and running and spend some quality time with this machine, because that's something that I haven't really been able to do, which is why every time I go to use this computer, I kind of forget what I need to do to even get this thing to start, which, like I said, is what I'm going to try to figure out in this video. Okay, so I went into my notes and I did find that I typed up some stuff, and it's good because I have the instructions on how to reset the video mode, which I think is going to be necessary. Not to mention, on the second page here, I have the information on how to configure the IDE card that's in here, because without this, the computer just boots up, and it still boots up into the OS, and you can use the floppy disk, but the hard drive, the internal hard drive, does not work. So I think we're ready to get started. Let's turn this stuff on. And the power switch on the computer is in the back here. There it is. The fan is very noisy, but that won't really matter at the VCF show. Okay, yeah, this is the kind of thing that happens, I think, potentially. Let's see here. Do I have a setting wrong? No. I can see, and it's rolling. It says RISC OS or something like that. So I think what I need to do is hold down, wait, let me read the instructions here. The Del key does a full reset, but the R key, that just resets the video mode. So I'm gonna hit reset, holding that key down. That doesn't seem to do anything. Let's power the computer off and on again. There's a reset button on the keyboard, but I think it's not really a full reset. It's more like a soft reset. And I figured that out. I don't know if that's in my notes, but this does not look good. Okay, I remember this. You get this red border. Oh, crud. Okay, well, at least it's booting into the OS, but clearly we have an issue with the monitor here. So we're in RGB mode, but we have no sync. So what is going on? Let me check all my cables. This is why I need to do this testing. All right, so maybe the trick is here is that I'm not using SCART and I'm just using the 9-pin or the DIN RGB input on the back of the monitor. And I have a bag full of little adapters that I've made over the years. Like that's TTL RGB, so it's not that. But I have all these adapters that plug into things like the back of the monitor that give me what I need. Okay, so here's RGB horizontal vertical sync. Yeah, this one might work, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, look at this. There's like so many adapters. BBC, TTL, RGB C-Sync. Let's see here. So many adapters. This is what I do. I just make loads of adapters. I do label them. It's just it becomes hard to find them. This one says CGA, TTL, and Apple III. So that's Apple III adapter. All right, well, I think maybe this is the one. I think I'll try this one next. We have horizontal sync, but we have no vertical sync now. Oh, come on, this is silly. Oh, look, there we go. That's the SCART cable again, and that's working now. I just had the wrong combination of buttons. The CVBS button, the composite video button, has to be pushed in on the front, which I think tells this thing to take the sync signal from the SCART input, and then there's another jack on the back, and I have to have that one pushed, because if I have it out, this is RGB mode, it looks like that, the back button doesn't do anything, and we push it in, and now I push the back button, and there we go. Now it's working. So I'm back to using the SCART cable again, and sorry about the rolling, I'll fix that in a second. We're back to using the SCART cable and the little adapter that I had on the back there. Let me show you. So yeah, it's this little adapter here with the SCART cable, and now it freaking works. All right, change the shutter speed, so now it's running at 50, which means we shouldn't have any more flicker. Okay, so what do we have here? The system is working. That's awesome, but as I suspected, the hard drive is not working. So if I turn the computer off and on, I think it should at least retain the settings to that to this point, you know, where it does load up the OS. What I definitely need to do is I definitely need to do this, hold the R key down when you turn it on. There we go. That brings up RISC OS 3. Okay, so I'm going to highlight what I need to do here, at least for the first step. Yeah, R key needs to be held, but there we go. We're good and going. Now I can hit F12 and it brings up a CLI that allows me to actually type in the commands to bring up the hard drive. But actually, before I do that, let's see if these discs work that I made. I made these on my Grease Weasel, and the first game I want to try is Zark. I think that's how you say it. This apparently is pretty much an incredible game, or at least an incredible showcase for this machine. It came out in 1987, which is when the machine came out, and it really showed off how powerful and incredible the RISC processor is on this thing. And of course there's a lot of glare. Let me turn off the lights so that it's less glary. Oh yeah, wow, that's so cool. I haven't actually seen this running yet. Let's turn off some of these lights. Less glare. Let's get this closer so that it looks a little bit better. All right, well that's super impressive. Oh, the sound is working at the moment too. There's actually an internal speaker inside the computer. So the whole thing that's so cool about this, let's turn down the contrast a little bright. What's so cool about this is I'm pretty sure this runs as fast as what we're looking at here, even on the original version of the Archimedes. So this is from 1987. And just think about like running a game like this on an Amiga 500, for instance. I don't even know if the 500 was out in 1987, but if it was, I don't think you would have been able to get graphics like this. I'm not sure actually how to start the game, because that's not me controlling it. One thing I'm noticing, there's like a little bit of flicker down here on the graphics. I'm wondering if that's because this game from 87 is just not expecting the faster ARM processor that's in this computer. Feels like some dogfighting is happening here, and it's all happening without my control. Game over. Type your name, self-play mode. Okay, there we go. I think we are actually in a mode where we can control it. Okay, so I pushed the mouse button and it actually launched it up in the air. Okay. Oh, I see. You control with the mouse. So the left button is it's like the flight trigger button. And then you move around. You kind of like can position yourself to move. Very interesting. Okay, well, the game works, obviously. That's the main thing I wanted to kind of demonstrate, is that it does run. What do the other buttons do? Okay, so right button is for fire, left button is for like your thrust, I guess. Oh, and then the middle button is like a smart bomb. Okay. And if you touch the ground, you die. And things are destructible. That's pretty cool. Pretty darn cool. Okay, so that works. So that was Zark. I lost the discs already. Okay, I don't know what games are actually good on the Archimedes, so I just went and downloaded a few things. I got Spheres of Chaos, and I tried Pac-Mania. That's a game everyone's familiar with. I'm gonna hit the reset button to try to get out of the game. That worked. Okay, let's load. I put Pac-Mania in. Now, theoretically, I could copy these to the hard drive, by the way. I just figured I'd have the disk just to make sure. Okay, so Pac-Mania. Yeah, Namco, Pac-Mania. This version was done by... I forgot who converted this. I wrote it on the label. This game was on the Amiga and a bunch of other platforms. Control Escape returns you to the desktop. 1 for start game. How do we actually move around, though, is the question. I don't know. We'll figure that out in a second. So up, down is P and L. But when I push it for a split second, it's like selecting the level, and it's happening so fast. But, okay, I think I just started the first level. Yeah, so it's ZX and PL. Oh, the sound is working. Okay. No one's going to hear that in the show, of course. Let's see if this loads. Oh, nice, super smooth scrolling. Oh, yeah, nice. Now, this version of Pac-Man, or Pac-Mania, sorry, is not very good. The biggest difference is you can jump. So when there's ghosts, you can jump over them. But it's demonstrating silky smooth scrolling. And the music sounds perfect, too. This is probably arcade perfect. All right, pretty boring. But, you know, as a demo, it's fine. There you go, jump, jump. Nope. Cool, okay, it works. Hit Control Escape to exit to the desktop. Bye-bye, there we go. Let's try the last game. Spheres of Chaos. I don't know how to tell if the disk has changed other than click on the disk icon. There we go, Chaos. Yeah, the flicker of 50 hertz is definitely not something I'm used to. Not at all. And I know people who grew up with it, it's completely normal to them, but it's... I'm not gonna say it would induce a headache in me, but like this white box, it's flickering so badly compared to 60 hertz. If you ever used VGA and you use 640 by 480 and you ran it at 60 hertz, and then you, on early VGA monitors, Super VGA, if you went to 800 by 600, they often ran at 50 hertz and the flicker was pretty significant. Okay, Spheres of Chaos. I think this is kind of like, let's see, how do I use the keys? Stop flicker. Like, why would you want to stop and start the flicker? Okay, I don't know. I think this is like a asteroids kind of game. Okay, so it looks like Z and X are moving the thing around, but how do I fire? Okay, that was obviously, that was the Alt key. Okay, spacebar does not do anything. It's gotta be a thrust key. Oh, okay, there we go. Thrust is the backslash key above the enter key. Have not figured out how to fire though. Oh, there we go. Bracket, square bracket. Yeah, asteroids-y like game, but very, very colorful, lots of flying pixels. Very impressive, I gotta admit. I think this will be fun for people. I should probably write down the key combinations so that if I boot this game up, I can put a little note there. Yeah, lots of pixels. Very cool. Oh, there we go. We got a baddie. Oh, all right. Not bad, not bad at all. Okay, how do I escape out of this? Control escape does not work. I'm just gonna press the reset button. Now, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to follow the instructions to get the hard drive working and see if we can copy these games onto the hard drive. We're gonna type configure ZIDE FS disks 1, configure ZIDE FS drives 2, configure ZIDE FS drive 4, ZIDE FS dir cache 32K, configure file system ZIDEFS. Okay, that should do it. Now, this would save normally into the NVRAM, so I wouldn't have to type this every time I had the computer off for a while. But I'm quite sure if I hit reset, this should make the hard drive work now. Or not. Oh, that's quite annoying. All right, so Control Alt number sign pause to reboot the computer. Oh, darn it. I don't know what I just did. Obviously, it didn't save because we don't have the hard drive. It would show up as an extra icon there. These are all the config options, but it looks like it didn't save the stuff I typed in. And how do I see my configuration options? This is obviously showing all the possible things I can type, like the disks and drives and dir cache and stuff like that. And this is where I kind of get stuck every time I use this machine because I don't remember exactly what to do, and I just said type that stuff in, press F12, and then Control Alt hash symbol pause to reboot. But I just did that, and that did not work. And I think if I type the command show, is this showing us everything that's currently in the NVRAM? I'm not sure, actually. Oh, you use status to look at the status of everything. Okay, here we go. Okay, so ZFS disks 1, drives 2, drive 4, and cache. Okay, that is correct. This is exactly what I typed in, and yet doesn't seem to have worked. I'm just gonna power cycle the computer because I found that that reset sequence that I did there doesn't always work. And the reset button that's on the keyboard right here, that doesn't actually always do anything either. I mean, it resets the computer, but it doesn't always actually reload. Look, that did it. I had to power cycle. So my notes don't say that. I just had this reboot sequence. So even though Control Alt hash pause reboots the computer, let me try that again. Control Alt hash pause. So this is what I did earlier, and that does reboot the computer, but you saw that it did not load the disks. So there we are, our 2 hard drives now, and full of games and stuff like that, or programs that is. So we have 2 drives here. This one is empty. Okay, so can I copy these games onto the internal hard drive? Let's give that a try. It looks like we have a copy of Elite here already. Okay, we got new directory, and we type the name, games. Okay, now we have a games directory right here. Let's open up the disk, see if I can copy this chaos game onto the computer. Okay, sorry it's not super clear. Hopefully it's in focus. Question is, after this copies, hopefully I can actually just run this. But yeah, it looks like even though that's just an executable, it's actually a folder. So inside of it are a whole bunch of files. So I'm gonna unplug or remove the disk. So there's the floppy disk, and let's try running right off the hard drive. Look at that, totally works. That's so cool. That is freaking cool in a way, because we're talking 1988, well, this is 1992, but you know, it's old, and that whole paradigm of just having a file you can copy is just cool. Okay, let's do the same with Pac-Mania, because if I don't need to rely on disks, that would be great, but I will bring them with me anyways. Okay, I don't know what the deal is with these other files. Do I need these? I guess I'll copy those as well. But yeah, there's Pac-Mania, like it's a folder, and then there's a bunch of files and stuff inside. Now writing these disks, by the way, on the Grease Weasel was really easy. These are ADFS files, which is like an Acorn 800K format, and the Grease Weasel can just natively write these on any 1.4 megabyte floppy drive. So that was no problem, easy peasy. So the last game to copy over is Zark. So let's open the disk. There it is. And we'll copy Zark right here into the games directory. Hopefully that's going into the games directory. Nope. That did not go in the games directory. Let's try moving it here. Okay, made a copy of it. So let's try and delete this. Okay, here we go. So I'm using the middle button, delete. There we go. Okay, let's try running it. Take the disk out. So I'm going to run it from the games directory here. You're about to see the demo. Otherwise, press the key to continue. Okay. Okay, so that's interesting. So it starts with the Zark demo. And if I push a key to continue, it just exits. So I guess Zark does not work copying it like that, like I did there. So let's delete this. And real quick, we'll just try running it off the disk again. Putting the disk in. So that's interesting. If I run the Zark program off the disk, what if there's some kind of copy protection or something? Incidentally, you're about to see the demo. Wow, what did I do? I like broke the disk somehow? No, the weird thing is this disk is write protected. So this is the disk we're looking at right here. I'm confused at what's happening here. We saw this game run before and now it does not work. It just sits here at this. And when I push any key on the keyboard, it just exits. All right, I'm gonna reset the computer. We'll try it again. Haven't rebooted. Okay, we'll just run this off the disk directly. Okay, there we go. The game is running now. So that's different. How do I actually start the game though? Okay, so it's running the demo mode here, as you can see. Might be hard to see because of the glare on the screen. Press the key to continue, but we're still stuck in this demo mode, which I managed to get out of last time, and I was actually able to play the game a little bit. I did that, I think, by clicking a button on the mouse, but right now it's not letting me do that. In the meantime, I'm just gonna update my sheet here to say that I need to power cycle the computer after doing these config options for the hard drive at least. Power cycle. Ooh, my pen is leaking on me. I'm super confused. I have no idea how I managed to break out of the demo last time, because now it just stays in the demo. But you know what? Good enough. Maybe someone can figure out how to break out of the demo at the show. I certainly managed to do it once, but now I'm pushing and mashing keys. Game over. Self-play mode. Okay. Okay, so the way this works to break out is you have to hit escape first. Then I already forgot what I did. Darn it. Let's try to reset the game and figure that out again. I need to write the notes down. All right, so Zark off floppy disk. We double click the icon. And the difference is this actually shows this. If we press a key to start, oh, right away we're not in the demo. Okay, I'm super confused. I reset the machine. I'm just taking notes for myself. So load from floppy. All right, I'm just gonna copy this to the hard drive one more time. I just wanna be triple sure that it does not run from the floppy, or from the hard drive, that is. Okay, so Zark is right here on the hard drive. We run it. Oh, I don't know what was going on before. It just had this text. So there we go, the game's running. and I'm able to control it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the flicker on the play field at the bottom. I have to imagine that has to do with this computer's accelerated processor. Whoops. Immediately died. Destructible landscape. All right, one more time. So we go to the hard drive, we run Zark, and you are about to see the demo mode. Otherwise, press the key to continue. If I leave this to start the demo, if it ever does start the demo. Okay, now it's in demo mode. So if I hit escape, game over, press the key to continue, then there we go. The game is now in playable mode. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna try moving into the games directory now. We'll run it from here, just make sure it works in the directory. Yeah, it's working fine. Definitely was not working before, so I'm controlling it there and all is good. Okay, reset again. All right, and I'm just gonna delete the game that's in the root directory there. So now all we're left with is the game in here and one more run just to make sure that it works. Yes, it does. Yeah, funny. I mean, I hope you all saw that it was not working properly and now it's working fine. Okay, there we go. I think that's going to be it for this video, actually, because I have what I need. So essentially, 1084 monitor is plugged in with a little adapter to the SCART cable, and the CVS button is in, the CVS button is pushed in, the rear button is pushed in, and that's what we're looking at right here. And then for Zark, you can load from floppy or hard drive, and then mouse to control. And for the NVRAM, all I need to do is hold down R while powering on the machine, and it's all good. And then the other thing we're doing is the ZIDEFS stuff. After you do it, you have to power cycle, otherwise it does not stick. That's what I need to get the Acorn Archimedes up and running at the show. And otherwise, I just need to kind of bring all the constituent parts. So the monitor, the computer, the keyboard, and the mouse. I will bring these extra floppy disks. I will not bring all the extra accessories for it. And there we go. We'll have a working Acorn Archimedes at the show. I'm probably going to type out a little bit of information about the machine as like a little one-pager just to kind of have on hand to remind me what's in this exactly, the release date of this computer, etc., etc. It's too bad I don't have the ARM2 processor in here, which would be kind of nice to demonstrate, hey, this is what it would be working or running like with an 1988 processor, RISC processor that is. So there we go. That is the Acorn Archimedes 420. If you want to see this thing in person and play around with it yourself, you can do so at the VCF show up in Seattle. It'll be at the beginning of May. I'll have the dates and the information on screen right now. And I guess that's going to be it for this video. So quick and easy. This machine does work exactly how it was when I left it, which is great. There will be upcoming videos where I fix the sound or, at least make it louder, but specifically fix the NVRAM issue, plus test out the extra modules, get all that stuff working, because it'd be really kind of cool to see this thing fully kitted out. Plus I got to get a bunch of like productivity programs and stuff on here, because right now it's just sort of a basic install that is on the IDE hard drive. And I guess that's going to be that. So if you enjoyed this video, thumbs up. But if you didn't, you know exactly what to do. Huge thanks to my supporters. Thank you to you. Thank you to subscribers. Thank you to everyone. Click those links. And I have low blood sugar, so I got to go grab some candy, which is why I'm sort of stumbling with my words a little bit. And that is it. So stay healthy, stay safe. And I'll see you up at VCF or on the next video. Bye.